my understanding would be that there are different, even in the Vedic tradition, there are different models for explaining the inner reality. So, even with respect to theories of matter, there is Sankhya and there is Vaisheshika.
Correct.
So now Vaisheshika is basically we could say the atomic theory of matter. Now in Western history, Western intellectual history, there have been two broad theories of matter. Traditionally, what from the Plato it was there was called the elemental theory of matter. I mean, there are the fundamental blocks of matter are elements. Now this element is different from what in the periodic table we call as elements. They're simply material components. But then for various reasons that theory was not accepted, and now the current view of matter is of atomic theory of matter, where we may have various things which appear as elements to us, but if we go further down, those elements are made of atoms. Now of course you can go further down and subatomic particles are there. Quantum physics says everything is waves. So it's not necessarily that the atomic theory of matter is necessarily the complete or the accurate description of reality. But that is one model which has been mainstream accepted. So now so in the Vedic tradition also there is the Sankhya which talks about the elemental theory of matter, and Vaisheshika which talks about the atomic theory of matter. So these two, how exactly they are to be reconciled, that's a whole different universe. So just as there are two different theories of matter within the Vedic tradition, so I would say with respect to understanding of subtle body also, there are different models. So the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad-gita, they derive, if you consider these six systems of philosophy existed in the past also. Now we could look at scriptures from a transcendental perspective, that everything is by the plan of the Lord. But you could also look at scripture from a historical perspective, in the sense that when Shukadeva Goswami spoke the Bhagavatam, at that time there were already certain schools of thought that were present, and Parikshit Maharaj knew many of them. So now Shukadeva Goswami presents all of them, all the existing schools of thought, or at least major sections of them, in a devotional context, with a devotional theistic worldview. So the Bhagavatam primarily draws on Sankhya. It doesn't draw so much on the Vaisheshika. So within this in the Sankhya model, the karana sharira is not talked about so much.
Correct.
So it's just like in Ayurveda you have digestive fire. In allopathy there is no concept of digestive fire. So in science they say that facts are theory laden. Facts exist in the context of theories. So it's not a theory free fact. Some facts are theory free. Like all of us have an intestine, we have a lungs, we have a heart. These are theory free facts. But that health is because of the balance of kapha vata pitta, or health is because of the balance of certain homeostasis or biochemical balances in the world. These are these are theory laden facts. So basically the concept of the karana sharira, causal body, is not something which is primarily used in Sankhya as it is understood in our tradition. So now, but still, if you want to look at it, what it means, so we could say karana sharira is sometimes similar to the sukshma sharira, something similar to the sukshma sharira. There are some few differences over there, because if we consider that many of the other schools of thought, Sankhya itself was an analysis of matter. But the analysis of matter can be done in a theistic way, it can be done in a non-theistic way also. So basically in the Indian tradition there are three systems of Sankhya. They call it 24 Sankhya, 25 Sankhya and 26 Sankhya. 24 Sankhya is materialistic Sankhya. You just analyze matter and that's all that exists. 25 Sankhya is that you could say monistic Sankhya. There is matter and there is consciousness. The Bhagavatam Sankhya is 26 Sankhya. There is matter, there is finite consciousness and there is infinite consciousness. So similarly with respect to the karana, so the karana sharira refers to now this could be explained in a theistic way also, but if you consider say Buddhism does not accept the existence of any Ishvara, any God. But then what fuels transmigration? So they say that all impressions are stored in the subtle body, or whatever word, the word may be different, and those impressions are what cause the next body to take place. But we also say the same thing, but we say that it is under divine supervision. But they say that those impressions themselves are the cause. So in that sense, the karana sharira becomes the karana, the cause. So if we consider that it is one cause, but there is also the supreme cause. If you see that in that context, then the karana sharira and sukshma sharira can be, in some models, be seen as same. But in the sukshma sharira, the emphasis is on the subtlety. In the karana sharira, in the terminology, the focus is on the causality. So focus on causality means that they think that this itself produces spiritual reality. So this itself produces the next body. So I would say this is one understanding. But in the way in which matter is analyzed within the bhakti tradition, the karana sharira is not given that much emphasis. So it's just a different model of looking at the world.
What about these that they talk about